But now we're going to get this sealed also. This is actually some floor leveler that was put down a couple months ago. And it's actually all dried. So now we're going to get this primed. All right, we got the floor all primed. You know, just used old paint. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you do anything similar to that? All right, so it's time we're going to get started with the flooring. So right now we're going to show you some of the basic tools. Got my rubber mallet, got a utility knife. I got this little, it's tapping block that I've had for many years, and I got a bar. And later on we'll see how these are all used. All right, starting the floor project, you can see we got some of the plastic down. The stuff I put down as primer is dry. Starting to get things set up and trimmed out around. And we're going to start in this corner and then work our way across and down the floor. Got to trim this corner piece. All right, so you can see I got just a bunch laid out here, so I can see if I need to do spacing or trimming pieces. As you can see, I do have a little bit of a gap here, but that's going to be covered by the trim. So we're going to be good running that just right down the wall. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to get going again on getting the flooring down. So we're going to go ahead and get it set up. We'll get it set up here on a little thing so we can do like a time lapse. All right, what I'm doing here, it's hard to see in time lapse, but essentially I'm putting this back piece in first and getting this close. So what I'll do is I'll actually work this all the way down so it's just about there. Then we'll put it down in. All right, to show how I'm doing this, so essentially this piece, this end has to connect on here, but you can see it won't fit, it's too small. So what we're gonna do is actually, that end that we're gonna cut off is gonna end up becoming the next one for the next row. But to get this measurement right, the easiest way is to take your piece, flip it around this way, line up your end with where you need it, and you can see where you gotta cut. Yeah, that's the fun of, working by yourself, having to constantly go back and forth to get your tools you forget. All right, so as I was saying, basically I take my square now, so that way I can get straight cuts, and I'll line it up so the edge is right there like that. And then essentially you want to use one hand to hold this straight, then use your knife, score it. So let me score it and I'll show you what we do next. All right, I just got done scoring it. So now I can feel the line across here. So now all we have to do is pick this up and it will actually snap at this part. So since I'm going to use one hand, I'll do it this way. So you can see my score is right here. So now if I push, it snaps right along that line. And there's my piece. And now all I have to do, flip it around and get her put in. All right, so since this is too close to the wall and I can't get a hammer or my tapping block in there, what we're gonna end up using is this. So essentially we put this in there to kind of pry against, and that is what pushes against here. All right, you can see that we went ahead and I got a lot more progress done. The batteries died in the other camera. So right now what we're gonna do is we're gonna work up here. If you look, you can see I have a very rough texture here from all the stone that goes around here. So what I ended up doing was making this. It's actually just a little block. I measured this distance is the same distance as from here out. So now I can literally just kind of trace my rock and that'll give me my line of where I need to cut. So we're gonna go ahead and get that cut and then, or get it traced, and I'll show you what we come up with. All right, so I got it traced out, what I was just trying to do. So now you can kind of see what it looks like as far as the lines, how we're gonna end up having to trim this out. So I'm not even gonna try to do this by hand. I'm actually gonna take it over and probably get out a jigsaw and just cut it that way. All right, so here we are in the workshop with the board in question. And really what we're gonna end up doing is, when I got it here and I went over and I actually used my saw. So we use this just to get some of the relief cuts in it. So now that I got those relief cuts, you can see what I've done to it here. And now what we're gonna do is go ahead and just get my jigsaw and we'll go ahead and get these cut. All right, so you can see somehow I messed up and I actually have too big of a gap. So I'm gonna have to redo this piece. So I'm gonna try and just do almost a freehand here. Let me show you. So essentially I drew this line on here, which was this piece when it was on there. So pretty much what I did is I went through and eyeballed the distance difference between here and there, and then just kind of made it up on here. Like I said, as long as I'm within like 1/2 to 1/4 inch in there, I'm gonna be happy with that. I'm happy with this. It's taken more trips than I'd like to admit to, going back and forth, trimming just a little bit, then touch here and touch here and back and forth, but we got it all done. So that's it for that. All right, so now we get to move on to the next part. This is the next part. So we're gonna have a similar thing, but it's a lot straighter across there. Just finished up the last of that box, so I'm at a kind of a natural stopping point. So you can see how much we got done. So that's gonna be it for today. Yeah, because tomorrow we're going to be processing some birds for basically freezer camp, so we're not going to film that. All right, till the next time we get back to the